Hi, Barry Plaskow here, and I'm here to tell you about the most significant WSO bonus I have ever created. And in fact, according to some of my friends, this might just be the best WSO bonus ever. I'm inviting you this Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern, to rub shoulders with a living marketing legend, Conrad Levinson. Jay is a guy that taught Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates marketing at Berkeley, who, in answer to their questions, wrote a book that was to go on to sell over 21 million copies. That, of course, is guerrilla marketing. And he's also the guy that was on the team that created some of the most powerful and successful marketing campaigns in history. The Jolly Green Giant, Tony the Tiger, and the Marlboro Man. This is a one-off event that does not repeat itself very often. Now, just to tell you a little bit about the event, this will be open to 1,000 live callers, and therefore, you really need to be there on time on Thursday evening. So not everyone's going to get the chance to get in. We're expecting a lot of people to join FB Crusher today. So you need to make sure that you arrive for the program as early as you possibly can. However, if you miss it or if you get locked out, just to let you know, there will be a recording that will be made available in the members area for you. Now, originally, this was going to be its own WSO, and we were going to charge a lot more money for it. But as a guerrilla marketing master trainer, I thought it my obligation to open this up to as many warriors as possible, which is why today you'll be getting this as a bonus for joining FB Crusher. There are other bonuses also that we're adding to FB Crusher, and if you know anything about my previous WSOs, you will know that I continuously feed my members with more and more content over time. So really what you're investing in today is not a one-trick pony, but rather a membership that you only have to pay for once. So I very much look forward to for you joining us in FB Crusher, and for you to be with us on Thursday evening for this incredible event, this one-off event with the Master Marketing, Conrad Levinson. Now, if you don't know who he is, watch this very brief excerpt of an interview that he did recently for Sky News Australia.
Well, of course, he is known as the father of guerrilla marketing, essentially promotional campaigns that rely on energy, imagination, time and sometimes interaction instead of huge budgets. Jay Levinson spent years in the ad industry working on some of the biggest brands around, including the Marlboro Man, before teaching his guerrilla marketing concepts to students including Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Jay, thank you so much for coming on the program. Just firstly, tell us a bit about your background, because it's fascinating, some of the campaigns and brands that you've worked on over the years, including, of course, the Marlboro Man.
Well, I was lucky enough to be employed by advertising agencies that had these high-profile companies, many of which started as little two-man operations in a garage, but they became large companies. So that was a blessing for me. However, as much as I liked the corporate life, I didn't like the weather where I was living in Chicago. So I asked for a transfer. When they couldn't do it, I made my own transfer, moved to San Francisco, and I opened my own company. And I realized that working on my own, I was protected from committees and meetings and memos, and I could accomplish in 3 days what used to take 5 days. And I wrote a book about that, Earning Money Without a Job, which led to me being invited to teach at the University of California in Berkeley. And that led to me attracting kinds of people who one day said to me, they said, Jay, we all have Levi's, long hair. We all have great ideas. None of us have money or a clue how to put the word out. Could you recommend a book? I said, I'll be happy to, but I was unable to. I went to libraries throughout California, couldn't find any books on marketing because they were all written for companies with budgets of $300,000 a month, which was not the kids in my class, but I had made them a promise, so I wrote a book. I called it Guerrilla Marketing because guerrillas want conventional goals, needing unconventional means. Same with my students. They wanted financial independence, joy in their lives, balance, but they couldn't go about it with traditional advertising or PR, so they had to use unconventional means, and so that's what guerrillas do. That's why guerrilla marketing was written strictly for the kids in my class. Never knew that the book would take on a life of its own and sell 21 million copies and be translated into 62 languages, which means you're talking to a man who does not understand 61 editions of his own book. But small business has exploded around the world, and they needed what guerrilla marketing taught. And that's how this whole thing came about. And the kids in my class went out to form companies like Apple, Microsoft, Dell, Oracle. All the big Silicon Valley companies are run by kids who were in my class, the ones with the long hair, the ones with the Levi's. But they took what I said to heart, And they invested time, energy, imagination, and information, not money. They didn't have the money. And so that's how this whole phenomenon came about. Lucky me, I was doing the right thing at the right time, writing the right book for the right people.
Well, let's get into the term guerrilla marketing. It conjures up ideas of thinking smarter, maybe being able to do things cheaper than conventional. Is that at the heart of it?
You know, James, that's exactly at the heart of it. People think it has to do with ambush marketing or sneaky or unethical marketing. It doesn't. It has to do just what you're saying, leaning on the brute force of creativity rather than the brute force of a large marketing budget.
Well, give us some examples of guerrilla marketing that you've seen work really well.
Well, an apartment building in Los Angeles was an area where the occupancy rate was 70%. So they put up a sign in front of their building that said free auto grooming. And what does that mean? It means that they hired somebody to wash the tenants' cars once a week. And they got 100% occupancy, which they've had ever since. And the difference between 70% and 100% easily covered the cost of the man who washed the tenants' cars. That's guerrilla marketing.